Welcome to r/entitled people, where we share stories from your lives about people who think the rules don't apply to them and they should get what they want. Thank you, friends, for subscribing to the channel and for so many likes. And today we have two great stories, so subscribe, hit the like button, and let's begin. The first story. We did all this so that finally after 3 months they would give us our money back. The second story. I got my manager fired. The first story is 3 months, 5 phone calls, 2 store visits, and 1 police report later, I got our money back. My boyfriend is an avid gamer, and whenever he finishes a game that he knows he won't play again, he usually goes and trades it in pretty much immediately to that particular chain game store, known for its SH trade-in rates that will be referred to as GS. If he doesn't trade it in immediately, he waits for a while until he has a good stack of games to trade in, and they have some sort of deal going on that allows him to get more money back. Leading up to the incident, he had been going to GS and trading in games and controllers in 2 different stores. One about 10 minutes away from our house, GS1, and one in a mall about a half hour away, GS2. He had traded in almost $300 worth of games at this point, contained on 2 different gift cards. One of which contained about $160, and the other, which this long story pertains to, contained $133.97. He went to GS2 one night towards the beginning of June and traded in some games and controllers, which equaled out to the $133. Then we went on vacation for 2 weeks, and when we came back, he went to GS1 to trade in more, and then the story really kicks off. We got back from vacation towards the end of June, and we went to GS1 shortly after. They had added the value of what he traded in that day to the gift card that had $160, and when we got back to the car, I asked how much money we had on the cards. We tried to figure it out in our heads around what we should have, but we wouldn't know for sure until we actually checked the balances. So we called the number on the back of the cards to check the balance, and the first card had the $160 on it. Great. Called the second card that should have had $133.97 on it, and it was empty. Weird. Called again just to double check that we had entered the number into the phone correctly. Still empty. We get home and he's starting to get nervous. There's no reason why that card should be empty. He didn't use any of the money on either card because we were saving up to buy a Nintendo Switch, and he was sure that he hadn't accidentally put an empty card into his wallet. That card should have some money on it. So he called the GS customer service number to try to figure out what was going on. He's able to speak to someone about it, and they told him that the balance on the card has been transferred to a different card and spent. Nothing can be done. BF tells the rep that he didn't approve any sort of transfer, and the rep tells him that since the money was spent there was nothing they could do. He tells BF to file a police report and ends the conversation. So BF calls the customer service number again to clarify what he should do and speaks to a different rep. The second rep tells him to file a police report and give us an email address for the police to email about the situation, and then tells BF to, and I quote, just go trade in some more games to get the card's value back up. He ends up emailing the address that he was given to try to get more information on what to do next. Regardless, we headed out to the police department of the town where GS1 is, because at this point we had no idea what store this could have happened in. We speak to an officer and give our account of what had gone down, and he calls and speaks to a rep on the phone, who gives him a different email address than the one the rep had given us earlier. The officer sends out an email and tells us the police report will be ready in a week or so, and that we'll be able to pick it up when it is. By the way, even after everything that happened, that email address never got back to the officer about the situation. The next day while I'm at work, I call the GS corporate number to try and talk to someone about getting the money back. I speak to a rep for a while and recount the whole situation again. She asks for the store we think it took place in, and I give her the address of GS1. She also advises that we file a police report, which I tell her we already did, and gives my phone number to the district manager, who she says will call me back within 24 hours to discuss everything. The DM actually called me back a few hours later and said that they were able to see that the transaction did not occur at GS1 like we thought it had, so he wasn't able to do anything about it. About a week passes with no updates from the police, when BF gets an email back from the contact that he was given when he called the customer service line almost a month ago. They explain that it looks like when he went to GS2 to trade in some games after he left, someone had reported the card as stolen, and an employee had then transferred the balance onto a different card, and that it had been spent over the course of a month. They say that lost or stolen cards can't be replaced, especially now since the card would technically be empty. So basically we're SH out of luck. We didn't want to give up though, because we were out $133. During the next week, BF gets a call from the police department that the report is ready, so he goes and picks it up and gives it to me because at this point I pretty much take this whole situation into my hands. During this time, BF also finds the receipt from the day he traded in his games, which confirms that it happened in GS2. Within the next week, which takes us to the end of July by the way, so we're already a month into this whole thing, I go to GS2 and speak with the manager about everything that happened. I'm equipped with the receipt and a police report, and I am prepped to talk to someone until I finally get some sort of answer. The assistant manager I talk to takes down all the information from the receipt and police report that he would need, and says that he would escalate it to their district manager, but it might take a while because their usual DM was on maternity leave, so they have someone filling in for her. 2.5 months pass and we're now midway into September, and nothing has happened. At this point, we are so over waiting for them to get back to us, and just want the D money back, so we both go back to GS2 and talk to a different manager. He says that they had tried to look into it, but there isn't anything that he can do at a store level, and advises that we call the corporate number again. And so I began my campaign of calling and badgering their corporate number until I get the answer that I want. I called the day after we spoke to the manager again, and waited on hold for an hour until someone finally picked up. I go through the entire situation again, and he says that since it was for BF's account, they would need to talk to him about it. I tell them in not so nice terms that I'm the one they'll be dealing with, that I have all the information they'd need. The card number, the account number, BF's name and email address for the account, the receipt number and the police report are all sitting in front of me. So no, they would not be speaking with BF. The rep very quickly changed his tune and said that they would escalate it to the DM again and that I would hear back within a day. I make sure that he knows that if I don't hear back, I would be calling again. Lo and behold, I don't get a call, so I call the corporate number for the second day in a row. I wait on hold for an hour again and relay all the information to a different rep. I go through everything, the incident, what we did, the information I have, and that I had called yesterday and was waiting on a call from the DM. The rep tells me that there's a note in our account about everything, and that the DM was still getting their information in order, and will be contacting us within a day, that if I don't hear back to call again tomorrow. BF got an email a few hours later from the DM asking for some basic info, and for a picture of the gift card in question, to prove that we did in fact have it. He sent over everything the DM asked for, and the DM said he would get back to him. BF then tells me to cool it on the calling, and maybe give him a solid day, since the DM did finally contact us. The next day we got our money back. Holy SH, I'm glad you got your money back and didn't give up. You're lucky you had the time and were able to get through to them. Maybe that's why they were coming at you so hard, hoping you'd just give up. Someone reported the card as stolen, and then an employee transferred the balance to another card, and it was spent within a month. Someone? Probably the employee, the same one who transferred the balance to his card and spent it. Probably had GS covering their A's for fraud the whole time, and they probably figured out who that employee, or should I say former employee, was. I hope so, because this won't be the last or only time they pull this kind of thing. The second story is, I finally said F you to my manager and quit my job. I work in a cloud kitchen which prepares food for 10 different brands. I was working as a shift manager when I quit. In this company, every year, 23 days are allotted as paid leave for every employee. I haven't taken one extra day off since I worked there 2 years. So a few weeks back, I got into an accident outside work. I didn't get hospitalized right away, as it was just a fall, which was my mistake. Next day, I went to work as well, but during work, the real dreadful pain started and I took a half a day off. The manager complained a lot that I'm irresponsible to leave the crew behind for all the work, but he gave the half day to go see a doctor. After several tests and scans, I got to know that I had torn ligament in my shoulder and needs at least 3 days of rest to heal. The doc gave a letter to show to my workplace as well. The manager denied me any leave, because apparently the staff aren't trained enough to be left alone in the kitchen, which is not true, as everyone there have worked there for at least a year, and do handle the store when I have my weeks off. I called HR and got my leaves approved anyways. Next day morning, this manager guy starts calling like crazy. When I picked up after waking from some very drowsy kinds of painkillers, he screamed at me so much. He said he'll get me fired and he'll block my salary if I didn't get to work right now. I told him firmly there's no way I'm coming in and cut the call. After a while, I get a call from HR saying I'm being removed from the manager's training program. I was under training to become a store manager, because I'm not capable anymore according to the current manager's report, and I'm also being shifted to another store for insubordination. I called the manager and asked what happened. He screamed a bit more and said if I get there in the next 10 minutes he'll reconsider. I lost my SH and told him to FO. I got fired. I also am in the process of sending a very big mail to the operations team and accounts team, as I have all the records of this manager cutting costs, and also proof of him taking stuff to his house. I don't know if I should do it though. I live in India, by the way. Update. So some details I missed about the company. It was found by 4 hotelier friends who were tired of working for SH People. They took loans and started this company 2 years before COVID lockdown. During lockdown, food delivery was in high demand, and they managed to open around 30 branches all over the state from the sales during that time. The owners know most people personally and usually visit every branch once a week. The place I worked was their first shop to open, so they have their head office there. The shift manager and HR is from the same location, so anything told to HR is usually leaked out to the manager. People were scared to tell this to anyone. So in my mail I had voice recordings from all the times this manager shouted at me, and also some very derogatory things he said about the women staff in the shop. Also had pictures of orders with the timestamps so they can check the CCTV. Also had pictures of this guy reducing potion sizes for cost cutting without informing anyone. For e.g. sending normal sauce when customer paid extra for diet sauce. The mail blew up as I CC'd it to the owners, operations head, HR head, city manager, cluster manager, and the SH manager. I got first call from operations head at 1 a.m. Asked me why this wasn't informed earlier. I told him if I did that, my life would have made hell by the manager, and staff is suffering under him. He was peeved. Next day from morning, I got around 20 calls. The owners, city manager, and all put me in a conference call. All were livid. The HR was also on call and she was silent to all things they asked her. Told me that he's talking very badly about the women there, and that is extremely inappropriate. Begged me not to post anywhere in social media. I agreed as the owners are not that bad. The manager got demoted to shift manager and transferred to a faraway branch. This is a trick done by the company to make people leave instead of firing them, so that they don't have to clear any dues. Then the manager did the worst mistake of calling me. He shouted badly. He cursed and screamed. I was calm because I was recording. Now and then I gave him stuff to talk about, and then he said something along the lines of killing me if I ever set foot in the city. After hanging up, I sent another mail with the same recipients, and also told them I will be contacting police for threatening me, and posting the recording in social media for breaking the deal of peace. The guy got fired in a few hours. My coworker called me very gleefully saying the manager trashed his office before leaving. City manager is calling cops about that. I'm going to let them handle it. For me, I leased a restaurant near my hometown, in the process of taking in very few talented but underpaid workers from my old job. It's opening by end of January. Better to be an entrepreneur than work under SH situations. It's amazing that in India you can call for justice for such abuse, get crappy people fired and possibly arrested, rent a new restaurant and premises, hire underpaid people, and get a near happy ending, all within a month. The story has it all, and could have been a great story. The protagonist is trained, leads a team, fails, gets his act together. He's threatened with deadly consequences. He talks to the Council of Elders. The big bad guy goes into exile. The big bad guy doubles down and starts a riot. The cops are about to come. The team and the protagonist get a happy ending. Thanks for watching. Hit the like button and subscribe to the channel.